The ICE detention facility behind me here in Aurora is where almost anyone detained by ICE in Colorado ends up. But for the first time in decades, many of the people inside are not getting the chance to ask a judge for a way out. Now we are sitting down and listening to one man who lived through it and managed to come out the other side of those doors.
That was almost 20 years ago.
20 years is a long time, long enough that you might forget some or all of the details. What do you remember about coming here?
I do not remember anything really.
Manuel is talking about when he came to America, crossing the border with his family at around 3 years old.
I am from Mexico, but I feel more American in a way. I've lived here my entire life. I went to school here. I have all my friends here. My family's here.
We are hiding his face and only using part of his name because he's scared. In fact, he's been scared for nearly a year now.
I had heard talks, I had seen it on the news where people are being picked up from courtrooms on their way to court, leaving court.
It was a dog bite case that brought Manuel to the El Paso County Courthouse back in September. He doesn't have any other criminal record besides some traffic violations. He says his family dog got out and, after a chase around the block, bit a neighbor who was trying to help. Manuel was given a ticket, the dog was put down, and he showed up for his court date.
I was hoping for the best. Hopefully nothing would happen, and obviously that was not the case.
It was leaving that courthouse just a few minutes down the road from here when Manuel says he noticed two unmarked cars following him. He pulled into this gas station behind me, and that's when his fear of being detained became a reality.
I believe it was around 5 agents got out of their cars and were banging on the window, asking me to open the door. I didn't know what to do. I just kind of froze. I didn't think it would come down to immigration following me and arresting me.
Manuel wound up here, detained at the ICE Geo facility in Aurora for 7 weeks. Initially, he was denied a bond hearing, told repeatedly by attorneys that he did not have much of a case, but he kept looking.
In my mind, it was, if worst comes to worst and I am taken out of the country, at least I go without that doubt of what could have happened if I would have kept looking.
Eventually, he found a lawyer and learned 2 little words.
Habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus.
Habeas corpus is really like a lifesaver, lifeline.
Habeas corpus, in Latin, meaning that you have the body. In legal terms, a lawsuit to determine if the person's imprisonment or detention is lawful.
What we've seen is, I think, what courts have described as a tsunami of cases.
Right now, for many people in the United States, a habeas corpus petition is the only way they're going to get out of custody.
Jessica Doggart and Hans Meyer are both immigration attorneys. Denver 7 Investigates did the math, and data in federal court reaffirms what they are saying. In Colorado alone, more than 60 habeas corpus cases for people detained by ICE have been filed since January 1st. Last year, 12 were filed total. The year before that, 4, and before that, 7.
For 30 years, people that have come in and were not encountered right away when they came across the border have been granted bond hearings in immigration court. And now the government is saying that they're no longer eligible for bond hearings.
ICE sent a memo over the summer announcing the government's reinterpretation of a 1996 immigration law. Before, denying bond was typically reserved for people who recently crossed the border illegally or committed certain serious crimes. In a statement to us, Tricia McLaughlin, the Assistant Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, says in part, President Trump and Secretary Noem are now enforcing this law as it was actually written to keep America safe. The statement continues, saying ICE has the law and the facts on its side. But the fact is, people in detention are succeeding.
I think the response is in the numbers. We've won over 200 cases across the country saying that a lot of these policies are not lawful.
The University of Iowa is tracking these cases nationwide. According to them, people detained by ICE have won more than 280 cases this year. How many have they lost? 20.
I think the message it's sending to the government is it's taking ridiculous positions in the law.
What is your response to people who say, well, this is what people voted for during the presidential election?
It might be what some people voted for. I don't think that this is what most of the country might have voted for. I think this is an extreme policy that we have seen like never before.
I was placed with the GPS tracking device on my ankle. To my knowledge, that's more for them to know where I am.
Back in Colorado Springs, Manuel is getting used to the new hardware wrapped around his ankle. Part of the court's condition after winning his habeas corpus case, being granted a hearing and posting a $7,500 bond.
I'm not going anywhere. I want to stay here.
Here, with his family, in the only place he calls home.
What emotions did you feel when you left that detention center?
When I opened the doors and saw my parents, it was just, I can't even describe that feeling. I just hugged them and I didn't want to let go.
Why do you think it's so important that people out there hear your story and hear what happened here?
There's a gentleman in there that told me that 2 voices can be heard more clearly than 1. So if I can do anything in my power to help the people in there, I will, be it this interview or be it any other way. I think it's time for us to speak up.
Now, Manuel insists he is working to become a legal citizen. We did reach out to the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice asking for interviews, but we only got that statement. Meanwhile, in federal court here in Colorado, there is a class action lawsuit playing out that could have widespread implications when it comes to this issue, and we will continue tracking it for you. For Denver 7 Investigates, I'm Natalie Chuck.